Hi, everyone. I wanted to send out a quick note. I just got done grading all of your papers, and I just sent all the emails to you all about that. And so you all have your individual feedback. You all also know, based on my emails, that folks didn't do the best on this assignment. But what I can say is that just about across the board, there were some common themes in terms of what people missed a lot of points on. And I will say that, one of the things that is honestly the most concerning to me, and the whole reason why I'm making this video beyond the feedback that you all got, is around paper structure as well as APA. Because this course is one that, as all of you shared in your introductions, as all of you know, you're at least a year into your doctoral program, meaning that you've gone through many courses that should have required APA format, should have required papers with APA formatting. So to get to this point and for folks to really struggle with that is really concerning to me from a programmatic perspective, because I can obviously give you feedback in this class and refine your work with you to get through the class and fix some of these things. But it is without a doubt something you should have encountered from your first class in this program. So either faculty aren't checking you all on this, or standards are really loose, or I totally understand some of the courses, they may have some kind of alternative assignments where you don't need to have a ton of structure to the paper. But I mean, this program's founded on APA, so I don't know how you can have gotten around too much of it at this point. So I want to walk through a few things quickly. And this is just to reiterate some of the things that I shared, as well as help signal for future assignment components. So let me pull up some things here. So first and foremost, let me share my screen. Okay, so one of the things that I want to say is the flow, the layout of the assignment. I mean, that can be and is an easy way to structure your paper in terms of headers and sections, right? I mean, definition of quality assurance, that is a header and a section. Describing your institution, header, section. External quality assurance, level 1 header within the respective entity. So, I mean, even just following the flow of the assignment, you can make the headers and sections of your assignment. And I'll say that that's the case for all of the assignments. Now, what I'll also say is that please do not feel constrained to this. If you feel like, based on the flow or how you want to write your paper, that you can do it in a way other than this flow, by all means do it. But still have headers, still have sections to signal what you're talking about, as well as what's not here that should definitely be in your papers that was also rarely present are introduction paragraphs and conclusion paragraphs, as well as transition paragraphs and sentences to help guide the reader from one piece to the next. A good way to think about it is, especially with the transition and the conclusion pieces, is imagine you're telling a story and you want to help give context to who you're talking and signal to them, I'm going to be changing topics now. That is necessary. Or where it's obvious that you're changing topics, such as in person, like maybe you pause or you give a look with your face and then you carry on. Those are also your headers, right? So know that we need to have that. And so I wanted to say that the assignments themselves give that away. And if that wasn't evident, maybe that's my fault. Although I will say, I don't want to tell you necessarily like how you, in the order in which you have to write I don't want to tell you how you have to think. I don't want to tell you how you have to organize your thoughts, because you may find a better flow and a more efficient way, or a way that just makes sense to you to put. So feel free to do that. However, If you don't have your own game plan, here is one, and the assignments are laid out in that way. So I gave you all as an attachment just a real simple, rudimentary structure of what that could look like from an APA perspective. Now, what's missing here is your title page. What's also missing are running headers and page numbers. But there's your title. There's an intro paragraph, definition of quality, um, and arguably you could have a level one header of the institution, and then underneath that an overview, and then the accreditors, or you could have a level one header of the institution with an overview, and then a level one header of accreditors. Again, there's flexibility there, but when you look at this way, it's super easy to tell if you kind of zoom out or just go by headers, what's being talked about when and what's all being covered, right? Um, so please, please, please do that in your papers. Why? Not only is it essential for APA, but it's important in work. I think this class, more than any other, is a great one to help demonstrate the importance of learning a format like APA. Now, you might be like, oh, I write emails or I write reports all the time and I don't have to do this. But think about quality assurance. And so many of you that are going through it or are involved in it, the pains and the unique aspects of putting together an assurance argument, doing it within HLC's system. You can't just do it however you want. You have to put it within their specific system, following their rules, doing it in the way that they want you to. So this idea of learning a format and writing within that format does play out in real life, especially with quality assurance. So if no other class, it's important for this one. And also knowing APA, a good amount of education related journals, higher education or education in general, use APA formatting. So if you ever want to publish things, you need to know APA. So anyway, I'll get off my APA format sandbox in a minute. But I do also want to reiterate this point, because this is the other thing people missed a lot of points on: citations. You need way more citations in your papers. Basically, everything you write that is not common knowledge, you need to cite. Even things that you don't even think about as not common knowledge. Like, so many people started talking about their institutions and didn't cite that, right? And it's like, the typical person doesn't know where your institution is. Because, no offense, but even like National Louis University is not a household name in the US, right? So we need to say where we, NLU is based in Chicago. How do I know that? Here's the site, right? Here's a citation. So you need to cite these things. And so that goes for your institutional information. That definitely goes for the external quality assurance information. That goes for the standing information, right? Because that's the other thing, people would maybe cite your institution or cite like, oh yeah, we're accredited by CACREP, and here's who CACREP is. Here's the website, the about page of CACREP. That's great, but the about page of CACREP does not tell me the standing of NLU and our programs with CACREP. That about page is about CACREP, right? So there has to be a specific other page within CACREP's website or on NLU's website that talks about our standing. So, so you may need to have multiple citations for a given thing. And also when we're comparing the external quality entities, if you're talking about multiple of them and saying like, yeah, there's similarities across these, well, how do you know that, right? You need to cite those multiple websites, those multiple places where you looked to find comparisons or similarities across them. So way more citations in your papers. And you need to know how to do citations, as well as how to do your reference page. And so I did link here, and there's others too. I mean, the source is the APA manual, but you all maybe didn't buy that. So by all means, I recommended Purdue's OWL website. Has always been a great resource. What I linked to is this page here, which gives some examples of like a student paper where you can actually go through and you can see their headers and their different levels and their in-text citations. But it also along the side here has all these quick tips and quick pages. So if you want to look at, oh, how do I make a table? Boom, there you go. You want to look at, oh, how do I do headings? Or how do I do electronic source references list? You click on it and see. So please, 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 please look to these resources. Also, I had softly recommended the Writing Center prior to this paper. I strongly recommend the Writing Center for folks going forward, especially if seemingly APA is new to you, or seemingly, you don't know how to place headers in papers. But yeah, that's that. And also, just as a reference, I gave you the rubric. So you can look at it in relation to your assignment. But again, the rubric mostly follows the assignment as well, although for sake of condensing things, I did combine some aspects, right? Like if we look at external quality assurance, that's one line in the rubric, but it's multiple components in the assignment description, right? And so it's important to both look at the assignment description and the rubric, and then look at your paper and see, am I covering all of these things, right? And am I doing everything here? And am I doing it in a way that makes sense and flows? Because it's supposed to be, again, like a story that you're telling. It's not supposed to be, the other thing too that sometimes people did is they looked at the assignment prompt of definition of quality assurance, then describe institution, and they just blankly did like, here's my definition. Now here's my institutional overview. And it's like, well, why are you telling us these things, right? This whole paper is supposed to be about exploring an overview of external quality assurance at an institution, right? So guide us through that. Don't just give us answers to questions, tell a story. And so that's where the transitions and the headers, all come in. I think that might be it. I felt like I had something else. So you got the email. You're welcome to rewrite. Oh, the most important thing. I want to know feedback about how we got where we are, because again, you all are a year or more into the program, and I'm just going to say it, like a lot of you don't know APA, and a lot of you didn't put a paper together as you should be able to put an academic paper together at this point in the program. So I'm not blaming you. I'm actually wanting to appropriately blame the program, because an instructor like myself should have had these conversations with you all in course number 1. So are they not happening, or do you all just have like super narrative flowy assignments where you're not covering a lot of topics where headers are necessary or important, or what's going on? Please let me know. Email me, or if you're going to meet with me to talk about feedback in your paper, you can tell me then. But I really want to know, because this is concerning, both as somebody who went through the program and was getting this kind of feedback in every class, but definitely early on. Even as an English major, I was getting feedback about my APA. So yeah. So if things have really fallen off in the program, like that is a larger problem than your all's grades, right? That is a larger problem that needs addressed with the program director and other faculty in the program. So please, please, please talk to me about that. Share with me some information so that I can share that with Jackie and help address this, so that future students don't have potentially what might be a rude awakening when you all look at your papers or address these pieces. Because again, this is the kind of thing that should be introduced softly and in a supportive way to students much earlier in the program, so that a year in, you're not getting this kind of feedback. Yeah, much like the dissertation process, right? I mean, you should be getting so much support around that, and probably more than you all are currently getting. But again, APA is super basic. And again, you can try to, muddle your way through it class to class and use the writing center, but guess what? You're going to need it down for your dissertation. And there's going to be no patience for APA issues there, which is all the more reason why you got to get it down in the classes. Okay, I'll stop. I'm sorry if this is long. It's late. I just finished grading all your papers, but I want to support you all, which I hope you all appreciate kind of the soft grading approach. Please, please, please let me know if you have any questions. I would love to talk through the feedback as well as give you ideas, because what's important here is your learning, right? That's why I didn't just like put in the grades, because the point isn't to just like, arbitrarily score you on. The point is for you to learn. And if wires got crossed or there were misunderstandings of expectations, I want to address that and I want to account for that and give you feedback, right? And allow you to demonstrate your learning when everything's open on the table and we're all for sure on the same page. So more than happy to talk with you all individually about your assignments and your feedback, or if any of my notations or comments didn't make sense. Also, I hope you're not overwhelmed with the feedback. I tried to warn you at the front end. But again, if all is good with the paper and you're kind of right as rain there, again, just about everybody had APA issues. So I would love to hear what experiences were like prior to this. And I'm not saying like, oh, this person graded easy. I'm more in general of like, was APA expected in your other papers? Were headers, section headers expected? And I guess, yeah, I mean, were you writing the same way in other classes, and was that not being corrected or called out? Because that's very concerning from a faculty quality assurance perspective, and from a prior learning outcome expectation and student preparation perspective. That means we are failing you. And so that is a problem that we need to address, but I need to hear that from you all. So please let me know. And I enjoyed reading the papers. I wish the outcome was a little different, but it was cool to learn more about the institutions and learn more about your all's writing styles. And I want to best support you all. So let me know. Let's be in touch. And let's leverage this week, since there isn't a writing assignment this week other than the discussion board. So if you are going to rewrite, best to do it now. I know you maybe didn't expect that, but it's nice you have a break in terms of writing assignments this week in order to try and get that done. But let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. Again, would be more than happy to talk with you all individually, as well, help you brainstorm, talk about approach, help ease your mind, help, again, set you on the course for success. Okay, I've been rambling. It's late. Have a good night. Peace. And we will continue forward in this journey together. All right. Thank you all. We'll be in touch.